This is an Elddis Mayfair 452. Just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll demonstrate these to you in person here on site. In the front locker, you have two gas bottle tie downs. We can count a maximum of two 6 kilogram propane gas bottles. Then you have your gas regulator on the bulkhead. We have the gas pipe work available here on site should you need to buy any. Coming down the side of the van, you have your water pump connection, which very simply pushes into the side of the van and locks in place with the cap here. The pickup pipe drops down inside the aqua roll, and then it needs to be fully submerged in the water prior to turning the water pump on. You've then got your wind down legs. Two wind down legs are very simply there to stabilise the caravan while it's on site. You can never lift the caravan with these legs, it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan. You've then got your heating and hot water flue. You remove the heating and hot water flue prior to igniting anything on gas inside of the caravan, and then your cover locks back down in place when you're done with it. But like I said, you do need to remove that before you ignite anything at all on board the van. Then got your two fridge vents. Two fridge vents are very simply there to allow the hot air at the back of the fridge unit and to take some cool air in. Behind one of those, you also got a gas flue for when you're running the fridge on gas. Motor mover and wheel nuts. We'll demonstrate the motor mover while you're here on site so you can see it's all working correctly, and we'll also torque the wheel nuts to the correct setting so you can see they've been tightened correctly as well. Coming to the back of the van, you wind down legs on either side of the back, and you've also got your two grey wastewater pipes. So the fresh water that goes in the front of the van comes back out the back of the van here. They'll go into the two larger diameter holes that you see there, and then it will drop down inside your waste master. Toilet flush tank. Open the cap flap up here, then you'll put 3.5 litres of water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. Then in the bottom, you have your toilet waste cassette, which you release by pulling the yellow handle and pulling the cassette towards you. The grey neck here turns out 90 degrees to tip the waste away. The yellow cap is a measure for your pink and your blue fluid. And on the back of the cassette, you've got a yellow pressure relief button, so when you're tipping the waste away, it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. We need to put 1 litre of water in that cassette and a cap full of the blue fluid prior to use. Going further down the side of the van, you'll find your battery locker. So we'll put a battery in there to demonstrate everything is working. That will come off prior to the caravan leaving site. And then you've got your mains power lead coming into the side of the van, which allows the power from the site to the caravan. And like I said, the battery on board the van will power your motor mover. In that locker, you'll also see a black power switch for the motor mover itself. And like I said, we'll demonstrate all this to you. We're going to put the last wind down leg, heating flue for the outside of the caravan, so you can actually have hot air coming into your awning should you have an awning up. And then you've got your barbecue gas point at the front. Going on to the inside now. First thing you're going to need to find is your mains trip switches for the caravan, and they should be in this cupboard just here. On the left hand side, you'll see your 12 volt fuses for the 12 volt systems on board the caravan. As you can see here on the left hand side, each of these is individually marked with what each of those fuses should be for. On the right hand side, you have your 240 trip switches for the caravan. A little tip for you: if you arrive on site and you're not sure if you've got power coming to the van, hit the yellow white test switch here. This blue switch drops down to the bottom. It means there is mains power coming to the caravan. When you hit that switch, it doesn't drop down. It means there is no mains power coming to the caravan from the caravan site you're on. Once you've done that, and you know you've got power coming to the van, if you're on grid, if you're on 12 volt, obviously that switch won't do that. You'll come underneath this seat on the right hand side front of the caravan, and in this cub, or underneath this seat, when you look towards the front, you'll find, hopefully you can just about see underneath there, I'll lift this up, is a yellow valve. So that yellow valve, just in the centre of the screen there, is your drain down valve for the water system. The yellow valve needs to be flat with the floor prior to doing anything else with the van. If that valve is upright and pointing towards the bottom of the seat, it will drain all of the water out of the system onto the floor underneath the van. So like I said, flat with the floor to fill the system up. We do advise for winter storage, you open this yellow valve up, open all your taps up in the central position between the hot and the cold, and put the shower head down on the ground so the water runs downwards, and then allow the water system to completely drain. If you leave any water in the system, it could potentially crack the water system if it freezes up and frosts over the winter. So now with that yellow valve shut, we can come over to all the taps on board the caravan and open them all up on the hot side of the water system. Wide open on the hot side. Once you've got all these taps open on the hot side, you can come over to your control panel above the door, or next to the door here, and you can turn on your master power switch to start with, so it allows the power to come into the caravan. You've then got your internal lights and your awning light for the outside of the van. Above that, you've got your voltmeter for the caravan, But most importantly, filling up the water system, you've got your water pump switch. Put that switch in the down position. When the red light appears, the water system will start filling up. Now when that water system is completely full, you'll have water running out of every tap continuously on the hot side of the tap. Once you have got water running out of all those taps continuously, you can shut all of the taps back off, and then we can start warming the water on board the caravan, which I'll explain to you in a second. So once that water system is full, you've got two ways of warming the water up. On the left hand side of the caravan here, you'll see you've got two switches, the top one here and the bottom one. Now the top one is your electric water heating. So if you're on mains power, you can flick this switch on and the water heater will proceed to warm the water up on board the van. Now if you're going to shower on board the van, it won't boost it on the electric side. You actually have to use the gas, and that's where the switch down below comes in. Or if you're off grid, you'll have to use the gas as well. So you'll spin this dial round. So you've got this little tab pointing towards a flame symbol. You'll have a green light appear in the back of it. Like I said, you do need to have that cover off on the outside for it to ignite. Once it's ignited, this green light will stay solid green. If it fails to ignite, the red light will appear in the back of here, which you can see just here. You can then control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees if it does ignite on gas, and that will be your boost when you're showering on board the van. Like I said, the electric will not warm it up quick enough to boost the water system. To isolate the gas supply to the water heater, you spin it back to the off position on the right hand side here. Below that, you have your control for your electric heating on board the caravan. So the actual heating comes out of this heater down here, or the little white vents around the caravan. I'll explain them in a second. You need to select down the side here either 500, 1000 or 2000 watts. Now this will depend on what caravan site you're on to what you select this to. You spin the dial to the correct power source, and it'll allow you to select the power you want to use. For this to operate, as you can see at the moment, no light has appeared in here. You'll need to make sure this bottom switch is turned on. Now that switch is turned on, we've got a green light, so the heating is operating. You then can control the heater temperature on the dial in the centre here between 1 and 9. The higher you go, obviously, the hotter the heating will be. The more power supply you have coming into the heater will obviously make it more efficient also. So it will warm up quicker if you have 2000 watts, for instance, and it will also be a lot warmer than what it would be on the 500 watt setting. I'm going to turn the heating back off now. You can also run the heating on gas. So on top of the heater, you'll find this dial on the right hand side, which you spin round between 10 and 9. Hold down the valve and hit the igniter at the same time. Once it's ignited, you'll have a pilot light in this window at the front of the heater, and you'll continue to hold down the gas valve for 5 to 10 seconds once that flame has appeared. Then slowly release the valve, then control the temperature of the heater on the dial on top here. Turn the gas supply off, you'll spin it back to the 0 position on the left hand side here. So we did also talk about these vents around the van, the white vents. So that's blown air heating. So essentially what you've got is on the right hand side top of the heater, you've got a control here, a bit like you have in the car, to control which way the air's going to come from, or the heat's going to come from. The dots here will allow, the dot in the centre here will allow the heat to come straight out the front of the heater. However, if we put it onto blown air, the heat will come out these vents around the caravan. On top here, you also have a fan speed control to control how much air it's going to blow around the van. On the right hand side, that's continuous blown air. On the right hand side, you have automatic blown air. Essentially, this will allow the thermostat on board the caravan to kick out in and out the blown air fans as they are needed. Again, if it's on the automatic, you can control the fan speed on the dial on top here. You've then, on the front of the fridge itself, got your option, on the front of the fridge, you've got your options for your power sources. So the first one is gas, you'll see here. You'll need to hold in the temperature control on the right hand side and hit the igniter on the left hand side. Once it's ignited on gas, this little red line that you see here will come round into the green. Once that has ignited and that line is in the green, you'll continue to hold in the gas valve, a bit like you do with the heater, then slowly release the valve after 5 to 10 seconds of it being ignited. You can control the temperature of the fridge on gas or mains on this control on the right hand side. To select the mains power source, you'll spin the switch round to the plug symbol, and then you've got your 12 volt supply, which is from the car you are towing with, not from the caravan battery itself. So if you're towing down the road and you have the correct connection on your car, you can actually use the fridge as a cool box to get the beer and wine nice and cold. But like I said, it does depend on the connection from your car to the caravan. If that connection is wrong on the car or is not wired up correctly, then the fridge will not work as a cool box, and it will also not charge the battery as you are travelling down the road. If you do want to use the fridge as a cool box, you do not need to have the control panel turned on inside the door. That can be turned off completely. Hob, grill and oven, all work very much like your household appliances, no difference at all there. Gas supplied to the hob and grill. You will need to have one of the long match style clicky lighters, as I like to call them, to ignite the hob, grill and oven, as there is no igniter switch on these ovens or hobs. Coming into the bathroom now. Toilet system, very simple to use. Have a pump flush on top, which allows you to flush your toilet system. The toilet seat itself turns for your convenience, as you can see here. However, when you're removing the toilet waste cassette from underneath the caravan, it needs to be back in this central position. Below the toilet, you'll find a grey waste handle. This grey waste handle needs pulling forward to the front of the toilet to allow the toilet waste into the cassette. And when you're not using the toilet, you'll have it in the closed position, and you'll also need it in this closed position to allow the toilet waste cassette to be removed when it is full. So this is the Elddis Mayfair 452. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate your business, and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon. Thanks again. Bye bye.